another massive game tomorrow, Chelsea versus Arsenal. You guys have previewed it on your channel,
my channel,
channel. So make sure you go and run that up as well. I saw that this morning. Curtis and Matisse collabing, and now they're collabing in real life. Maybe a little head-to-head later on for a score prediction as well. But Matisse had a very busy day yesterday. You were at DR and AFTV headquarters, and you were on box to box with Turkish. Let's see a little bit of that to whet our appetites before tomorrow.
My appreciation for what he's doing started probably with the Aubameyang situation, when he was cutthroat and he said, "No, you're leaving," and you didn't even get a striker in, which I thought was an L at the time. Obviously, later on, now you get Jesus, and that's worked out really well. But the fact that he wasn't going to be dethroned or allow any player to kind of override his decisions, etc., he wanted to make it clear that he was the guy. And he'd had issues before with other players, Guendouzi, etc. But now that he's been given that time to get all of those guys out, you can see what he's trying to build. And I still, stand by what I said before. Back-to-back 8th place finishes was a massive underachievement. And at most other clubs, he would have been sacked. But clearly they saw what he was trying to do that, nobody else could really see. A lot of people, I guess, couldn't see, most of us, especially rivals. And now it's coming to fruition. And now he's overachieving massively. If he keeps you guys in a title race, regardless of whether you win it or not, that's a massive overachievement. I keep saying it. The standard was go for top 4, get top 4. You missed out slightly last year, go and get top 4. If you get top 4, you're sorted. But to be in this position now, come Christmas, where you're literally... you're dancing at the top of the table. You're coming to Stamford Bridge, you're favourites. I'm quivering, I'm shaking.
Are we?
You are favourites. Unfortunately, I have to say it. You are favourites,
Self-dead Turkish, didn't he?
I mean, I'm not wrong by saying that. I don't think, if it was roles reversed and we were top of the table going to the Emirates and they were in 5th or wherever we are, I'd be saying we're favourites. I used to say we were favourites all the time going to the Emirates with Didier Drogba. All the time.
Yeah,
because
he
we
loves
just
playing
were.
there.
So when you take into account our recent record against them, Arteta's unbeaten at the Bridge, then they're at the top. We've got a couple of players that are out that really do mess us up, like no Reece James. That is a big blow. We've seen it with Azpilicueta. I can't say anything other than the fact that they are favourites, but hopefully that works in our favour and we actually step up and show why we should be maybe a team to be feared. But listen, they got to do it on the pitch.
Do you think you'll be ripping up your Arsenal shirt saying "End the stream"? Let's get a clip of that up, please.
Don't bring that one up, please.
Listen,
That was brilliant. That was one of the best moments.
Please get a clip up of that, right?
That was last season, wasn't it?
That was last season.
Yeah.
Is that when you didn't get top 4?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Because I felt for you there.
We had 4th in our hands, threw it to them, and then they threw it back to us, and then we
threw
gave
it back to them again.
Do you know what I said? Now inflation, I can't rip no more shirts. You know what I mean? I might have to use that as a towel or something. So
you still got it?
Yeah, I've still got it. It's a classic. That's my pain there.
Anymore.
I keep it there as my pain.
It was a
now
classic.
I'm trying to, see the pleasure this year. One thing I said.
How many views did that get, by the way?
I don't know, quite a lot. You know what I was disappointed about,
good for
right?
the channel.
I'm not on TikTok, right? And some channel,
and
it blew up on TikTok, so
Yeah.
I was fuming with that. But I said this to Matisse yesterday. I actually don't think we are favourites. If this was
Reverse
at the
psychology?
no, honestly, if this was at the Emirates all day long, I'd say we're favourites. Stamford Bridge, I
You've
still
got a
think
good record there, though.
we have. The last 2 games we have, but before that we had a terrible record there, and I think Chelsea's back's against the wall a little bit now. Like you were saying, you've got Newcastle away next week, lost to Brighton last week. I just think they need a performance. And like I was saying to you, I think the draw would be a better result for us than for you. We'll take a draw at the Bridge and try and beat you.
Well, Chelsea need to win. They've
We
just
do
lost
need to
4-1
win. Yeah, you have to
away
win.
at Brighton.
Yeah,
You have to win. So, listen, in my head, I think we can go there and beat them. We're at full strength, and I do think we can beat you. But I still think you're the favourites for the game at the Bridge.
Andy,
It should be a great game.
Andy in the comments, it's our time, Curtis. ... This brings me back to those days chasing titles against United. ... No other results mean anything to us. ... Hope we can keep this going. ...
I respect them
Lost
dots.
suspense.
I respect the dots. Yeah, he's trying to make us wait. Listen, I think if we beat Chelsea tomorrow at the Bridge, I think people keep saying, can you beat a big team? We've beat big teams. We haven't beat any of the big teams away from home, which I think has been our difficulty over the past few years. So if we win tomorrow, I think we're flying, to be honest. We've got Wolves next week, who I'd expect us to beat before the World Cup as well. So
I said this a little bit to Robbie on one of the shows that we was doing. I can't remember what show it was now. And I said that the test comes for Arsenal now, and it's such a different, complex season this season because of the World Cup. You know, if they can get to the World Cup in that position, I think they've got all the chance in the world. I really do, because you don't know what's going to happen. There's so many different variations of what could happen. People could go to the World Cup. They could come back absolutely shattered. You know, some might not come back at all. They might come back injured. You know, there's such... But that goes for Man City as well. So, what is it? You've got Chelsea tomorrow.
Then Wolves.
Who you're going to expect to beat. Break. You come back, you play West Ham on Boxing Day. At the Emirates, I expect you to beat West Ham all day long, because you always do, no matter how well we play. So it's the games that are set out. Chelsea tomorrow is the test. I think if Arsenal beat Chelsea at the Bridge tomorrow, I think they are in all contention for the title. Because I think when you come back on Boxing Day, listen, anything can happen in football, and I'm not writing my team off because we are a good team on our day. But if you can start again Boxing Day, West Ham, and get them few fixtures out of the way and pick up points there, I think you've got every chance. I really do.
I think there's two things for me. I think number one, it's how can the young team deal with their expectation. It's different chasing someone and being the leader.
That's
can
it.
they deal with Man City on their back all season? And second of all, are the Kroenkes do they actually want to try and win the league? You know, that's going to cost them a lot of money in the January window. Last January we should have got top 4. They never signed a striker to replace Aubameyang. They never signed a midfielder when Xhaka was injured. So if they show that ambition, go and get 2 players in January and go for it. You know, I think Pep's got one eye on the Champions League. So he might, you know, Haaland's now dropping out of certain games and stuff. So, you know, we'll have to see. It's there for the taking if they want it. But
you mentioned Aubameyang. We've all seen the BT Sport advert. They even released a clip today of them making the actual advert in real time. Let's have a little clip here from Robbie and Lee on the Invincibles podcast on the Aubameyang situation, because being around the place, they've definitely felt a little bit hurt by this BT Sport advert.
He used to have a good relationship with the fans. I've met him a few times, man. Really, really cool guy. Really nice guy. Really, you know, always got a smile on his face. When I saw the video, I'm like, why? Why do that?
Yeah.
Right? Because like you said, now you've given a lot of fans the excuse to really, really have a go at you. You've also given the manager an excuse to say, right, you know what? This is what this is what he said before. This is what he said now. Let's go and really stick it on them. You know what I mean? I'm not even too sure if Chelsea fans will be happy. There might be some who'll be like, yeah, look, you thought he was your guy, but now he's our guy, and that, you know what I mean? But I don't even think Chelsea fans will look on this and think, well, was that a very well-advised thing for him to do? Because you've just wound up the whole Arsenal team.
Yeah.
You know, you've just given them another cause, you know, to really have a go.
And there should be enough motivation without that, like, but there's a little bit of extra motivation now, like.
Sometimes that little bit of extra.
Yeah, but
you know.
Well, there you go. Robbie and Lee on the Aubameyang situation. Now, when we were talking about it yesterday, I said, it will just be one of those things where the BT Sport producers are trying to get a bit of, you know, viral footage out of him, and they're telling him to say this stuff. And the video they released today says exactly that. You've got Aubameyang there in the Chelsea shirt, and he's going, right, say Arsenal, I'm back. And he goes, all right, Arsenal, I'm back. He goes, all right, that was good. Say, I'm blue, not red. I'm blue, not red. Oh, brilliant. I can't believe he's saying this. And then he's just reeling off things, and he's agreeing to it all, almost as if he's a puppet.
He should have had an advisor in the room if he hasn't got one.
You think it's that serious?
Yeah, I do. I think he's an idiot.
It's the TV
It's an idiot
company there really taking him for a ride.
And they do. And
That's why I said I can't believe
and you can get roped into them things. You've seen it a million times. They can rope you into saying them things.
And the way they edit it together.
Yeah,
with Arteta shushing.
Look, if I was an Arsenal fan personally, right, I can see why they do it. He was very much for the. I've seen stuff with troops and stuff before, and you know they used to like. I don't know if I can say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. Fuck it. But they used to tell him not to speak to troops and not to interact with him, and he said, "Fuck off! I'll speak to who I want."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's a mate of mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And things like that, and outside after now, I know within this industry that's refreshing for us to see.
Beautiful to see.
It's wonderful to
between
see
the player and the fan.
But when I watched the documentary and the stuff he was doing in the documentary, as an outsider, not a content creator or anything like that, I'd be looking at him and thinking, fucking, he was a bit of a problem here, you know what I mean? And he was a bit of a wild card, and but for him to do that, he did still have a good rapport with the fans, and he still was thought highly by a few people. But I think he's just been taken for a ride.
Yeah.
I do honestly think he's just been taken
That's
for a ride.
exactly what has happened.
Yeah.
If you watch this video, I don't know if you've seen the video.
I haven't. No, I
It's on
haven't.
BT
seen the video.
Sport. If we can get a clip of that would be brilliant, because it'll give some context.
I very
to the video.
rarely watch TV and watch, in real time. And I saw that advert, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. I was like, why would he say that? Why would he? And again, the only thing I could think of, they've just told him to say that. And you've got to have an advisor in the room with you when you're doing them sort of things, because he's such a nice guy, gets on with a lot of people, blah, blah, blah. But have someone in your back, when they say I'm a blue, not a red, and you should say, don't say that. Do not say that. You're going to ruin your reputation. And I think it's disgraceful from BT, but I don't expect nothing different.
Because
it is,
I mean,
I think it is.
We actually can't play the clip because of the copyright, but is it though? I mean, they're getting exactly what they want and more. And they're going to, how many more viewers are they going to get for this game if they didn't do that advert?
I think BT have played an absolute blind.
They have.
When I saw that advert, I thought, do you know what? That's going to get a lot of views. I look at Aubameyang. I loved Aubameyang when he was at Arsenal, and I think it says a lot about his character, if I'm being honest, because as much as the way he left wasn't a good way to leave, I think the fan base always kind of respected what he'd done for us as a player. He didn't go directly to Chelsea, so we didn't look at that as like a snakish transfer.
What about Fabregas? Same thing.
No, but even Fabregas,
Barcelona
I've said
between.
many times that Fabregas, I never had a problem with that move, because we had a buyback clause in his contract and Wenger refused it when he left Barcelona. Now, what's he going to do, sit on Barcelona's bench when Mourinho wants him at Chelsea? So I just think Aubameyang, 33, you're a mature footballer, and what these kind of things will do. I just think it's naive and immature from him.
We've got to get in the comments here, because the Aubameyang chat has gone crazy. Oba is a disgrace, says Coasters for Life. Not welcome in North London, says Laser Gaming. Pure betrayal, says Barley. Don't care if Oba went to Chelsea as long as we beat them, says Jake Snacks. I agree with everything Nicky is saying, says Millie. People are overreacting, says Marvo. Disgrace, he understands English, says Lazar. Oba should never have done that. Going to Chelsea. Barca wanted rid. Chelsea's the only club interested. Arsenal fans being overreactionary as per usual, says MH Ha. Still salty. Oba deserves what's coming, says Cello. Obama who, says Barley. Aubameyang did say that about troops, to be fair. Aubameyang doesn't really have a choice but to leave Barca, and he's the only reason Arteta won the FA Cup, says Marvu. And there's just so many amazing comments. I can't read them all out, but Arsenal were red the day he left. Get over it, says Merch. What did he do for Arsenal, says President Trump. Weird. I don't care about it, to be honest. Loved him during a bad time for us. Won us the FA Cup, says Ibby B. And Aubameyang was so adored by so many Arsenal fans, but he's thrown that in the bin.
Do you know, in terms of just the advert, and I said this on the preview review, it didn't bother me that much. I was just like, you know what, the guy's left. Who cares what he's saying about Chelsea? I think it's just more the fact that, he knows how much he meant to the fans. And even though he fell out with Arteta, he always said, when he went to Barcelona, he said, I got no problem with Arsenal. He's actually got an Arsenal tattoo on his arm.
He does.
He's got his 2 kids in Arsenal
14.
shirts.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And yet you're saying that. So I don't think he's the smartest of guys, I've got to be honest. But it's added a lot of, fire to the game tomorrow. Because if he scores, they're going to
Will he celebrate if he scores?
I don't think he will.
No.
And the question there, I think he'll be booed by Arsenal fans because of that. I don't actually think they would have booed him if he hadn't done that.
Really?
Yeah, I honestly do.
But BT are just doing this, aren't they?
Yeah, they're loving it. They'll get more views,
very,
but I think he'll be booed tomorrow.
It's very predictable, isn't it?
Yeah.
This whole saga. And as a Chelsea fan, I don't really like it, if I'm being completely honest with you, because I feel like it's an unnecessary distraction. Now, if it works in our favour and he manages to pump up the dressing room and get them all as energised and as motivated for the Arteta beatdown as he is, then great. Now, I'm not saying our players should need motivation anyway, but I'm more thinking, what has he done to the Arsenal dressing room? Because we know on Amazon, what Arteta likes to do with these moments. He'll take
Go for Bournemouth. It's 3-1 away. Dominic
Solanke.
Solanke.
Liverpool legend.
Yeah.
3-1.
Wow,
and that
Leeds.
could be game over.
And we lost to these.
How did you lose to this team?
How?
I tell you what, O'Neill is doing an unbelievable job.
Yeah,
at
he
Bournemouth.
is, yeah.
Honestly.
That's going to be a massive win.
Great, great result at the minute for Bournemouth away at Leeds. The second halves have started. Matisse, back to you.
For me, it's so what was I saying? I just feel like for me, it's an unnecessary distraction. And has he motivated the Arsenal players? Like I said, we've seen in the Amazon doc that Arteta likes to use these things, and as you should. If I was Arteta, I'd be using this to my advantage, and that's my biggest worry, is that he's given them an extra incentive to go and give us even more problems when they were already going to do so anyway. So it's kind of, he's kind of like made the situation for himself in a way, although he was stitched up. And he has to play well now. If he comes into this game and he has a stinker, believe me, we are getting clowned, stupid. As a club, and he is getting clowned as a player. Yeah. He has to start now. Will he start? Like this promo has made the team selection already. He has to start. I don't know if he starts with Kai or whether he starts, on his own up front, but he has to start.
Why?
Because he has a point to prove, and at the end of the day, nobody wants to win this game. You would think theoretically.
Is Graham Potter going to care about that?
Yeah, but it's not Aubameyang FC. He's not. Graham. He ain't going to walk into the dressing room and say to Graham Potter, "You've got to pick me." You know what?
Okay, well then I'll put it a different way. Then, what is the point of bringing Aubameyang in as a stopgap striker who's meant to be a clinical finisher if you're not going to play him against Arsenal? You don't bring in Aubameyang and then bench him against Arsenal to play who? Brozier, the 21-year-old, and Kai Havertz, who's not really prolific. Doesn't make any sense.
Good point.
You have to play him. So
it's a good point.
He was brought in to score goals. He was brought in to get minimum 15 Premier League goals for me.
Will he get that?
I don't think so. Maybe probably just miss out on that. But he's a top striker, or at least he was a top striker. He's experienced. Stopgap. He's not going to be a Chelsea fan favourite unless he does a madness in a cup final or something. So, while we got him, we need to use him, and he needs to play games. He needs to score goals.
And we have to remember as well, that clip was probably filmed in August.
Probably,
maybe.
Yeah.
When they get all the players in the green room and do these little promo clips. So they probably line that one up. Ibby B in the comments, super chat. He'll be booed because